Mayor, we are now live and we may
Recording in
begin.
progress.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call tonight's meeting of the Sierra Madre City Council to order. And Madam City Clerk, I appreciate it if you could please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor Jean Goss,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Edward Garcia,
Present.
Councilmember Rachel Arizmendi,
Present.
Councilmember Kelly Creeves,
Here.
and Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Present.
Mayor Goss, all members of the City Council are present and you have a quorum.
Thank you. Tonight, Mayor Pro Tem Garcia will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and Inspiration. Mayor Pro Tem.
Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So inspiration for tonight, I want to continue Mayor Goss's kind of New Year theme as we're still in January, and I want to keep it a little light. But as I left today, I polled my children, I have 3 of them, what they're looking forward to and what their hopes and aspirations are for 2022. My 13-year-old said his hope is an end to all quarantines and end to all strains of COVID and any other sicknesses that might go through the community and or the world. My 12-year-old, he's 11, he'll be 12 next month. Same thing, he said, and they were in different rooms. He said, no more COVID, Dad. That's what my hope and aspiration for 2022. And my 6-year-old, Violet, her hope was that humans will learn how to fly. And I think we can all take encouragement and pleasure in our youth. She's been behind a mask for about a third of her life. And she still has this outlook of hope. And when some of us older people are a little jaded. So as we go into the new year, I just encourage all of us to listen to Violet and fly for 2022. It's a new year, and let's look after one another and have an optimistic outlook. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. That was indeed inspirational. We will now turn our attention to the meeting agenda. I'd like to see if there are any is there any interest in changing or modifying the agenda? If not, I'd like to take a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I heard a motion to approve from Councilmember Parkhurst. The motion was seconded by Councilmember Arizmendi. And your vote, Mayor Goss?
Yes.
Aye or nay?
Aye.
And your Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Aye.
And Councilmember Arizmendi?
Aye.
Councilmember Creeves?
Aye.
And Councilmember Parkhurst?
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. You have a unanimous approval of the agenda as it stands.
Okay, next we move to approval for reading resolutions and ordinances. I'd like to see if we get a motion and a second for this as well.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, thank you. The motion to approve the reading of resolutions and ordinance. I heard the motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Garcia, seconded by Councilmember Creeves. And Mayor Goss, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Aye.
Councilmember Arizmendi?
Aye.
Councilmember Creeves?
Aye.
And Councilmember Parkhurst?
Aye.
Mayor Goss, the motion passed unanimously by voice vote.
Okay, thank you. And now we move to the meeting minutes from our last meeting from January 11th. I'd like to get your changes, if any. If not, a motion for approval. I'm good with it.
Mayor,
Yes.
Madam City Clerk, did you get my one changed by email today?
Yes, Councilmember Krebs submitted some suggestions for changes that wouldn't change the outcome of the meeting minutes, and those will be implemented. Those changes will be implemented.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, is there a motion for approval for the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, I'm giving you more work.
Thank
Another
you.
roll call.
What I heard was Councilmember Krebs made a motion to approve as amended, seconded by Councilmember Arizmendi. Mayor Goss, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Aye.
Councilmember Arizmendi,
Aye.
Councilmember Krebs,
Aye.
Councilmember Parkhurst.
As I was not present at the meeting, I will
Oh,
abstain.
yes, thank you. Thank you for that reminder.
That's right. Good.
And so, Mayor Goss, the minutes are approved as amended by a vote of 4, and with Councilmember Parkhurst abstaining.
Okay, thank you, Madam City Clerk. That brings us to Mayor and City Council reports. Who'd like to go first?
I can go ahead and go first, Mayor.
Councilmember Arizmendi.
Very, very short report, but I did want to share this for the public's benefit. Last San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, or our COG meeting, we did have CEO Metro Stephanie Wiggins that attended, and I made sure that I shared with her some of the feedback we've been getting from our residents. I know at least I have, and it's come up in public comment before, is some folks are very happy with the microbus, others not, but I've heard positive feedbacks about that. But I shared with her that the biggest complaint that I've received is really the lack of a bus route. And they said they'll continue to monitor it. It didn't sound like there was any promises made, but I wanted to make sure that our small city of Sierra Madre, amongst all of the 30 plus cities that are represented at the COG, had that say, and that the CEO Wiggins heard that concern.
Okay, thank you. Who'd like to go next?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Krebs.
No specific report. I just wanted to similarly highlight for the public the program now available through the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District that people can apply to convert their landscaping into, low water use native plants. And so I know that's been all over the city's social media, and I know it's on the website, but just wanted to give that a little bit of a boost at tonight's meeting. So people should look for that. It's first come, first serve, and it's up to $1,000 of credit to do that conversion of your yard. So good timing with entering into a little bit of a dry period. So hopefully people will be thinking about those kinds of things and use this resource.
Who's next? Thank you, Councilmember Krebs. Who's next?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
So
Councilmember Parkhurst.
first, I'd like to thank the council and thank you, Mayor, for reading my comments at the last meeting, and my sincere apologies for not being able to be there in person. I also want to take a moment to thank our wonderful staff, the police, the fire, the public works, who have worked really tirelessly over the last 4 days to clear out all of the palm fronds and trees and everything else that happened because of the windstorm. We had 8 houses cut off up on Chaparral, broke a power line, and that power line was shut down and cleared out by Sunday. Had 35 to 40 different calls to fire on it. Really, we just are so lucky to have such a dedicated crew out there trying to take care of us. So I want to extend that thanks. And then just quick 2 small other updates. I attended the Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Commission. I think it was last week. And so they're off to a good start this year. And then, as always, we've got a lot of going on at the Clean Power Alliance, where we're looking at getting a number of new contracts coming up for both base load, which is kind of always on, as well as new storage and solar plus battery. So it's exciting to see that continue to go forward, and lots of projects. We actually will have some right here within LA County that could be part of the next tranche that come up. So thank you.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, anything?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Senior Commission had their first meeting of 2022, and they kind of did a debrief of 2021 and what occurred throughout the year. One thing that they wanted to highlight was that they had their seniors rock holiday concert with the Skinny Ties, or Sierra Madre's own Skinny Ties. And there were about 70 folks that were in attendance. And according to Community Services Department, there was actually several phone calls that came in, many thanking the community for, or the Senior Commission specifically, for hosting that rare holiday concert, a concert in the park during the winter. All of the commissioners recommend that they do another winter concert, but maybe not in the winter, as it was very cold out there. So we can hopefully look forward to another concert put on or sponsored by the Senior Commission. Also, as Councilmember Krebs reported out, the luncheon went very well. Nano Cafe in town was very gracious, and they were very excited. The commissioner was very excited to see some of our fire personnel in attendance. Also, tap cards, as Councilmember Arizmendi mentioned, we don't have the routes in town anymore. So the tap cards have not been flying off the shelf out of the Hart House like they have in the past. I think there's been 3 in the last couple months that have been used. And finally, regarding Senior Commission, I believe there were 106 seniors that were served 930 meals. So that's a great accomplishment by our staff and our Senior Commission. Next, I just want to bring up, I did get a call from a resident regarding dial-a-ride services, and those services were interrupted for a short time. We have very, very old infrastructure as far as our gateway coach, which becomes dial-a-ride in the afternoons. I've been assured that Management Carlson is on it, and we've talked about this in council meetings prior, because we have lost those 2 bus lines that come into town. There's pressure on micro, there's pressure on the dial-a-ride. So we are looking for alternatives and making sure that our residents are being paid attention to regarding ride services and transportation in town and outside of town. I'd also like to mention that the final EIR is up for the Meadows project. It's on our city website. I did hear from a resident that it's not accessible, but then I assured this resident that if you wait about 10 minutes, it's a very large file. It will eventually download. So anybody interested in looking at that environmental impact report, it is up on our city website and available. And finally, I just want to echo what Councilmember Parkhurst had stated about the response of our city. Our fire, our police, and our public works were amazing, and they continue to be amazing. I saw public works on my street today. Just a reminder that the way public works is setting up cleaning palm fronds and branches and trees, please fill your green trash cans first. The day after trash, usually the street sweepers come in, and the goal of public works, even though they're a very small crew and they're working their tails off, is to be ahead of those street sweepers and picking up any debris that's in the curb before the street sweeper comes along. And that ends my report, Mayor Goss.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'll just keep mine brief. I did have an opportunity to go to the first meeting of the year for the library board trustees, and it was great to see everybody there. Couple of things. They obviously, because of Omicron, our library is now limited again in terms of being able to see patrons, and everyone associated with the library is a little down about that, but you know, hopefully optimistic that we can get back to a full service library as soon as possible. Also, I got some kind of bad news. Maybe it's already out there and I'm just behind the times, but the liaison from Friends of the Library to the board, Margaret Quigley, informed us that there would again not be a live wine tasting this year. So that's not going to be on our calendars again this year. So I just would like to add my voice as well. That was one doozy of a windstorm we went through, and I thought the whole city was going to blow away. And, you know, our people were out there, our firemen were out there, our police were out there, our public works people were out there all hours of the day and night, and probably in some cases risking their lives. And the upshot of it all is we're in great shape. So I think the results speak for themselves. Kudos to everyone involved, all of our city staff, right up to and including our city manager. That's the end of my report. So now I think we're going to have a short agenda tonight, folks. We have public comment on non-agenda items coming, and then a consent agenda, and that's it. So let's turn to public comment on items that are not on the agenda. If you would like to call in now and comment on anything having to do with the city, other than what you see in the consent agenda, now is the time to do so. The phone number is 669-900-9128. If you want to use the meeting ID, it's 886-9228-1449, password 91024. When you do dial in, you will have to use the *9 to be able to get into the queue. And if you're on your computer, we ask you to raise your hand.
Here we do have one caller looking to be in the queue for public comment. I will allow them in now.
Okay. Are they there?
I am allowing them to speak. They just need to unmute themselves and introduce themselves.
Paul, are you there?
They did unmute themselves for a second, but they've muted themselves back. Caller, I'm going to ask, go ahead, caller. You've unmuted yourself. You can speak. I can hear you.
Hello?
We hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, good. You can hear me now.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and I'm part of the ad. Can you hear me now? This is Deb Sheridan. Good evening, council members. Thank you, Council Member Garcia, for showing me how to download or explaining that long environmental impact report. But the reason I'm talking to you tonight is because I did send Mayor Goss an email asking for a town hall type meeting where we residents can have an actual discourse without being cut off in the middle of a sentence. And your response, Mayor Goss, was, concerning the monastery, I see no reason why we need any more public meetings other than those that have already been scheduled. Now that the environmental impact report is out a month earlier than we were told it would be, it is my understanding that the city has 60 days to respond. When, pray tell, have these aforementioned public meetings been scheduled? I respectfully request that you actually let the public know. And thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you. Deb, are there any other callers? Any other public comment?
Mr. Mayor, no other callers are currently raising their hand or dialing *9. I think that is all.
Okay, well, that concludes public comment on non-agenda items.
Mr. Mayor, there were 4 items. There were 4 emails that staff received on items not on the agenda.
Okay.
All 4 emails were forwarded to the City Council for consideration and uploaded to the city's website for public access and transparency. The 4 emails were sent in by Clyde Stauff, by Maria Carafalis, Deb Sheridan, and the 4th email was received from Patton D. Elkhorn. Again, all emails were uploaded to the city's website for transparency and public access.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Yes, we've all read those emails in preparation for the meeting, and they are there for anyone in the city to go take a look at any time. Okay, before we get to the consent agenda, I would like any members of the public who might like to comment on any items in the consent agenda to go ahead and call in right now so that we can get you in the queue and be ready if you have comments as we tackle the various issues in that agenda. Madam City Clerk, would you like to go over the agenda for us, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before the City Council for consideration this evening are 5 consent items. Consent item A is consideration of Resolution 2206, approving certain demands. This is recommended that the City Council approve Resolution 226 for payment of city warrants in the aggregate amount of $196,375.46, Sierra Madre Library warrants in the aggregate amount of $3,224.03, and payroll transfer in the aggregate amount of $440,402.79 for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2022. Consent item B is the annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2021. This item is a receive and file. Consent item C is the Housing Element Program outreach campaign on the San Gabriel Valley Landlord Incentive Program, and this is also a receive and file report. Item D is consideration of letters in support of the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments CAL FIRE Prevention Grant application, and it is recommended that the City Council authorize staff to send letters of support for both the San Gabriel Valley COG, Council of Governments, and the CAL Fire Prevention Grant applications, and authorize the mayor to sign the letters on behalf of the city. And finally, consent item E is consideration of award of bid for water main lining project in the amount not to exceed $70,000 to the Advantage Red Line, and approve the budget increase of $70,000 to the water fund. And it is recommended that the City Council award a construction contract to Advantage Red Line in an amount not to exceed $70,000 for the lining of 200 feet of 10-inch water main, and that the City Council authorize an increase to the water fund budget of $70,000 for the cost of lining the 12-inch transmission water main on Canyon Crest to Brookside Lane. Mr. Mayor, that ends my presentation.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. I'll solicit questions from my council colleagues here. I'll just take these one at a time. Are there any questions on item A? Questions, we'll save comments until we're ready to vote. Questions on item B? Item C?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Creeps.
I was wondering if we might have staff just give a 1 or 2 minute update on the incentive, the landlord incentive program, just so it gets a little bit of publicity at the meeting tonight.
It's a great idea. Can someone help us with that? Claire? Okay, there we go.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No problem, we're good.
Good evening, Mayor Goss. So the San Gabriel Valley Landlord Incentive Program is to connect the incentive program for the landlord to provide housing for the unit for the homelessness that is getting out of homelessness. So the program is managed by the San Gabriel Valley COG and is managed by the Union Station in Pasadena, the homeless services in Pasadena. So what the COG is asking the city to do is to promote the program. So the program is providing incentive to the landlords and connect to the tenants that they already have the housing vouchers, and make those units available for the tenants that's getting out of the homelessness.
Okay, thank you. Any follow-up to that, Councilmember Creeps?
No, I just wanted to promote it a little bit.
Okay, great. Item number D, any questions? And item number E. Okay, hearing no questions on that, I'd like to open this up, any of the items on the consent calendar, to public comment. Do we have any takers?
It does not look like anyone wishes to comment on these items.
No one in the queue?
There are people watching, but none of them are raising their hand or dialing *9. So I think they're just watching.
Okay. So we will close public comment on the consent agenda and bring it back to council. Would anyone like to make any comments about any of these items before we go to a vote?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Arizmendi.
sorry, this is part of a question, but if maybe Finance Director Garo Leon will help us with the answer to that. Is this CAFR, and I apologize, I already said it, it's a new acronym, ACFR. Was this the one that was recognized for recognition and award, or was it the previous one?
Finance Director, you're on mute.
Finance Director.
Sorry. It would be the previous one that got the award. This one, after it gets approved by council, will get submitted to GFOA for another award.
Great, thank you. Well, my comment would be hopefully we'll get another award for this one. I mean, we have a great track record and just great work by our finance team. So looking forward to that announcement once it's submitted.
I'd say the odds of that are pretty good. I'm betting on Director Gary Leon. Any other comments?
May I follow up on that?
Yes, please, Councilmember Parker.
So the review that I did of the report, it said in there that this is our 4th consecutive achievement for excellence in financial reporting. So is that a different award, or is that the award that Councilmember Arizmendi had just mentioned?
Yes, it is the same award.
Is the same award. Well, we've got it 4 in a row, and I will bet with the mayor and Councilmember Arizmendi that we'll go 5 for 5. So great job.
Exactly. It truly is impressive. I mean, I'm imagining there are plenty of cities in the area that probably have never got one of those before. So we're very proud of our staff and what they're accomplishing there. Any other comments on any other items?
If I may comment on that same item, Mayor.
Please, Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll say that the environmental consultant has jumped the gun on me and has gone through the ACFR prior to the economist doing it. So kudos to you, Councilmember Parker. I have not combed through it yet. I'm looking forward to it. But I just want to echo, the important thing is, yes, it's a financial review. Yes, it's our audit. But part of that is we have an external auditor, Rogers, Anderson, Maloney, and Scott, LLP. And just, it's important to understand what their job is. And I just want to applaud and echo what was said. It says, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the city as of our fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. And it goes on. So this is an important document that has been audited by a professional CPA firm. And I think we always need to pay attention to that it has been externally audited and there are no issues with this annual financial review. So again, applaud the finance department and Director Garo Leon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Are there any other comments on the items in the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just a real quick.
Yes, Councilmember Parkhurst.
So I thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for that comment. I look forward to having you look at it because I know that you'll have a better eye than I will But I just wanted to also thank the city for the support of the COG and the fire prevention grant applications. I'm really glad we're going forward with that. I think that's going to be, anytime we can reduce the fire risk, the wildfire risk to our city is a good thing.
Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst. Any other comments on items in the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Creeves.
I wouldn't want the water main to feel left out because it's not getting a comment. But I do actually want to say I want to give kudos to our staff, Public Works and the utilities, and our city manager for being creative in finding a solution to fix a water main that's in a really steep area under existing homes, and really in a place that was going to be very difficult to make the repairs that are needed to be done. And I understand that this is a particularly important line, that connects one part of the city to the other. So I just want to applaud the staff for creative thinking and coming up with a way to solve the problem in a way that's going to be the least disruptive to the residents and maintain our ability to deliver water seamlessly. So good on them.
Thank you, Councilmember Creeves. I'll add my voice to that too. That's just a few years ago, we didn't have this technology. It's amazing technology to be able to line an existing pipe that's decades old and make it not only serviceable, but probably will give it many decades of useful life. It's, I think it's just tremendous. And that had to be troubleshooted. There was a lot to that project. So you're right, the kudos to the Public Works Department. Any other comments? Okay, well, hearing none, let's see if we can get a motion for approval of the consent agenda in a second.
Arizmendi moves to approve.
And over a second.
Oh.
And we have Councilmember Parkhurst seconds. And could you please call the roll, Madam City Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The motion to approve by Councilmember Arizmendi, and the second motion was seconded by Councilmember Parkhurst. Mayor Goss, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Aye.
Councilmember Arizmendi?
Aye.
Councilmember Creeps?
Aye.
And Councilmember Parkhurst?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the vote passed unanimously.
Uh-oh. Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Well, believe it or not, that brings us to the end of the meeting. I'd like to see if there's any ideas for future agenda items before we adjourn.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Parkhurst.
So a number of residents have raised concern to me with the PUC's proceeding on net metering and how it'll have an impact to people who have and are considering solar. I'd like to bring it before council here and have staff give us some education on it. Even myself, I had to dig in a little bit to understand the issue and the impact it has to our residents.
I think there'll be a lot of interest in that. Any other ideas for agenda items in the future? Okay, we have one then. I think we're ready to close the meeting. I'm looking for a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem moves to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Creeps seconds. Could you please call the roll on that, Madam City Clerk? You're muted. You're muted.
Thank you.
There you go.
The motion is to adjourn, and how do you vote, Mayor Goss?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Aye.
Councilmember Arizmendi? Yes. Aye. And Councilmember Creeps?
Aye.
And Councilmember Parkhurst?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the vote to adjourn is unanimous.
The ayes have it. So folks, we are adjourned until next time. Thank you for everyone for participating. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Night, everyone.